Ask anybody who knows me and they will tell you that I have two great passions in my life. The first is chess.
Checkmate.
Hate this game.
The second is entomology. But long have I sat wishing there was some way to combine my love of chess with my love of studying insects. But no, that could never happen. Anyway, this is Hive. So what we've got in this bag here is a two-player game that shares a lot of DNA with chess. In fact, designer John Ioni was inspired to make Hive after watching a film in which two main characters lug a chess set to the park every day. As Ioni himself explained, looking at the unused empty spaces on their chessboard, could I design a game that had no need of a board so it could be very portable, but still kept the essence of what makes chess so appealing? The short answer to which is, are bears Catholic? Yes, you could. Unlike chess's traditional knights and bishops, Hive is played with spiders and ants and other insects on these little hexagonal tiles which slot together. Two players alternate turns, either adding pieces to the hive or moving pieces around the hive, all with the aim of being the first player to completely surround their opponent's queen bee. The queen bee performs essentially the same role that the king does in chess, which, if you're not getting it yet, I'm trying to say that Hive and chess are very similar. This is chess. But perhaps the most striking similarity between Hive and chess is the fact that both are very strategic, both are very tactical, and both are very difficult to master. However, I would argue that if you've played neither chess nor Hive, that Hive is actually the easier game to learn. Hive has 5 very basic general rules which I'm going to demonstrate using this wall and the very latest in computer graphic technology. And then we cut so we can put in the green screen and overlay the computer graphics.
We don't have a green screen.
We don't have a green...
computer graphics.
What? And I'm going to demonstrate them using this wall and the very latest in blue tack technology. So with the exception of the first piece you put in the Hive, every piece you put in has to be adjacent to... This is rubbish, isn't it?
Yes.
I should just use the table, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Very basic general rule number 1. When pieces are added to the Hive, they must be adjacent to one or more pieces of the same colour. Also, they can't be adjacent to any pieces of the opposite colour. White pieces have to be added adjacent to only white pieces, black pieces have to be added adjacent to only black pieces. This is Kevin, a middle manager from Stockport and a Hive novice. Kevin is playing as white and wants to place this ant. Fortunately, he's watched Newcastle Library's video, Hive, How to Play, so he knows exactly where he can place it. Not there, Kevin. No, that's also wrong. That's just... Did you even watch the video, Kevin? That's better. Keep in mind that the opening the game is an exception. White places their first piece on the board like so, and then black adds their first piece adjacent to it like that. Very basic general rule number 2. Your queen bee must be added to the Hive within your first 4 turns. If you've already taken 3 turns, then your next turn must be spent adding the queen bee to the Hive according to the placement rules of very basic general rule number 1. Kevin has added 3 pieces, so this turn he must add the queen bee to the Hive. The queen bee, Kevin. That's an ant. Place the bee, Kevin. Thank you. Very basic general rule number 3. Pieces in the Hive can't move until you have placed your queen bee. Kevin has added his queen bee, so instead of adding pieces to the Hive, he can choose to move a piece. That ant looks like a good piece to move. The ant, Kevin. That's a spider. Please just move the ant, Kevin. Move the ant, Kevin. Very basic general rule number 4, pieces can't move if at any point during that movement they would split the hive into 2 or more pieces. Kevin wants to move his spider, but that would split the hive in 2, so he's either going to have to move something else or add another piece to the hive. I said you can't move it, Kevin. Put the spider back, Kevin. And finally, very basic rule number 5. Pieces can't move if they physically can't move on the board. The exception being grasshoppers, but we'll come to those in just a bit. Kevin's queen is in a spot of bother, so he wants to move it out of danger. Unfortunately, the bee does not fit through the gap, so Kevin can't move it. I said you can't move it, Kevin. Kevin. Put it back, Kevin. But let's get specific. You see, even though pieces are added in the same way, they all have very specific rules for moving around the hive. With that in mind, let's just keep it general for just a moment longer. You see, most of the pieces when you move will move around the outside of the hive. Your queen bee, for example, moves 1 space around the outside of the hive. Spiders move exactly 3 spaces in 1 direction. And ants, well, ants can actually do whatever they want, because just like in real life, ants are. On the surface, beetles seem like the queen bee. Like the queen bee, they can move 1 space around the hive. Unlike the queen bee, that movement can actually take them on top of the hive. So this is interesting for a couple of reasons. First, any piece that is underneath the beetle is pinned and can't move. Second, this space takes on the colour of the beetle. That means that black here can now start placing things around his opponent's queen bee. Lastly, beetles can actually stack on top of other beetles, which means in theory you could end up with a situation like this. Although to be honest, you'd have to be a real Kevin for this to happen. You right? Finally, we've got grasshoppers, which don't even move around the outside of the hive, rather they leap over the hive, moving in a single direction from 1 space to the next available space, no matter how far that might be. That perhaps makes grasshoppers the most difficult piece in the game to use effectively, unless of course, like me, you happen to be a highly ranked Hive Grandmaster. So that's Hive. Tactical, strategic, and, whisper it, I think it's actually a better game than chess.
Checkmate.
Hate this game. Hate this game. Sorry, you okay?
No.
Just check